If you like to see sword fights, magic, and dragons, you should definitely watch our picks for the best high fantasy movies. We hope you will enjoy the following ranking. Please let us know your favorite in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to never miss a good movie again.
Number 10. Warcraft 2016.
Our world is destroyed. There's nothing to go back to.
We are not responsible for destroying your world.
Warcraft is a 2016 action fantasy film directed by Duncan Jones and stars Travis Fimmel, Paula Patton, Ben Foster, Dominic Cooper, and Toby Kebbell. Being one of the most famous computer games, World of Warcraft is finally coming to the big screen in this adaptation. Set in a fantastical world defined by magic, supernatural creatures, and a never-ending war between man and orc, both species have to overcome their conflict and hate to survive a threat that is beyond their power.
You think you're fearsome? Orc children have pets more fearsome than you.
We are not trying to be fearsome, Grona. We're trying to protect our people, our families. If you help us, I give you my oath.
Number 9. Conan the Barbarian, 1982.
Crom, I've never prayed you before. I have no tongue for it.
Conan the Barbarian is a 1982 epic sword and sorcery film directed by John Milius and stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, James Earl Jones, and Sandal Bergma. The best word to describe this all-time classic is probably epic. In this story, we follow a boy whose parents were murdered. After being enslaved in a so-called Wheel of Pain, Conan grows up to be a man training to become the ultimate killer. Now his goal couldn't be clearer: to seek vengeance for his loved ones.
So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
Number 8. The Chronicles of Narnia Trilogy, 2005 to 2010.
I would very much like to meet the rest of your family. Why?
They're nothing special.
The Chronicles of Narnia is a fantasy film series directed by Andrew Adamson and Michael Apted and stars Georgie Henley, Skandar Keynes, William Moseley, Anna Popplewell, and Ben Barnes. We all seek the dream of an adventure greater than the world bound to reality. We all want to free ourselves from the tangles of our lives. This is what happens to a group of siblings escaping from World War. After accidentally entering a fantastical world beyond logic, we follow these children on their emotional and physical growth to become the kings and queens of Narnia.
His offense was not against you.
Have you forgotten the laws upon which Narnia was built?
Do not cite the deep magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written.
Number 7. The Dark Crystal, 1982.
What's it for? Is that what you want to know? You want to know what this is all about?
The Dark Crystal is a 1982 puppet animated dark fantasy film directed by Jim Henson and Frank Oz. Set in a truly fantastic world that is threatened to lose its purity and beauty, two brave but tiny gelflings have to go on the journey of their lives to save everything that makes their home the place it should be. But dark forces are on the horizon, and time is running out in this stylistic, refreshing take on fantasy.
This is how to know when. That's what. Suns, moons, stars. Yes, the angle of eternity. That's how I know it's coming. How else can I make the prediction?
Number 6. Labyrinth, 1986.
Oh, it's you.
Excuse me, but I have to get through this labyrinth. Can you help me?
Labyrinth is a 1986 musical fantasy film directed by Jim Henson and stars David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly. 15-year-old Sarah is annoyed by her baby brother, just like all older siblings are. But when her dream that he'd just vanish becomes true, as fantastical creatures kidnap the boy, an adventure begins that, well, she didn't ask for. Because in this magic labyrinth, no creature and no mystery is really what it seems.
You know your problem. You take too many things for granted. Take this labyrinth. Even if you get to the center, you'll never get out again.
That's your opinion.
Well, it's a lot better than yours.
Number 5. The NeverEnding Story, 1984.
That's impossible. They couldn't have heard me.
The NeverEnding Story is a 1984 German fantasy film directed by Wolfgang Petersen and stars Noah Hathaway, Barrett Oliver, and Tammy Stronach. Heartwarming, beautiful, and also masterfully crafted to be an adventure on the big screen. We are told the story of 2 protagonists, one kid in the real world dealing with the death of his father who finds a book called The NeverEnding Story, and this book's protagonist in a world that unfolds itself as the boy keeps reading.
Actually, we don't care.
If I don't save her, she'll die! There's a terrible nothing sweeping over the land! Don't you care about that?
We don't even care. Whether or not we care.
Number 4. Stardust, 2007.
You're quite right.
Stardust is a 2007 romantic fantasy adventure film directed by Matthew Vaughn and stars Claire Danes, Charlie Cox, Sienna Miller, Ricky Gervais, and Robert De Niro. What we sometimes do for love is beyond logic, especially for Tristan, who lives in a village securing itself from the creatures living in a forest by a wall. But when promising the woman who stole his heart to bring her a fallen star, he must cross the most dangerous place on earth. His worst imaginings are an understatement for what lays ahead.
I'd cross the wall and I'd bring you back that fallen star.
You can't cross the wall. Nobody crosses the wall. Now you're just being silly.
I'm not being silly. I'd do it. For you, I'd do anything.
Number 3. The Princess Bride, 1987.
Is there a village nearby?
There is nothing nearby. Not for miles.
Then there will be no one to hear you scream.
The Princess Bride is a 1987 fantasy adventure comedy film directed by Rob Reiner and stars Carrie Elwes, Robin Wright, and Mandy Patinkin. This all-time classic fairy tale takes the whole family on an adventure to lighten up their hearts. It is about a princess and a daring hero doing everything in his power to rescue her from an evil villain. While being unbelievably charming, this story takes a comedic tone to turn the old-fashioned damsel in distress into something fresh.
What about the ROUSs?
Rodents of unusual size? I don't think they exist.
Number 2. The Hobbit Trilogy, 2012 to 2014.
What are you then? An oversized squirrel?
I'm a burglar. Hobbit.
Burglar Hobbit?
The Hobbit is a high fantasy adventure film series directed by Peter Jackson and stars Ian McKellen, Martin Freeman, Richard Armitage, and Evangeline Lilly. Being a prequel to the legendary Lord of the Rings trilogy, this story gives the world of Middle-earth depth by crafting the beginning of it all. We follow the halfling Bilbo on his journey alongside a group of dwarfs who could not be more different to create a bond that needs to overcome orcs, magic, and even dragons.
You have no equal on this earth.
I am almost tempted to let you take it. If only to see Oakenshield suffer. Watch it destroy him.
Before we unveil movie number 1, here are a few honorable mentions.
What's the matter, Hodge? Packed too heavy?
No! Stop it! Give it back to me! This way!
How could you be so far from him?
I'm like a witch's demon, Great King. I can go as far from him as I please.
Well, if you are his demon, then I will kill you right now and be free of an enemy.
Elements of eternity, above and below. Balance of essence, fire begets snow. Loxvor Danalora, Luwatha Danu,
Believe in the word.
Tuwatha.
Number 1. The Lord of the Rings Trilogy, 2001 to 2003. The Lord of the Rings is an epic fantasy adventure film series directed by Peter Jackson and stars Elijah Wood, Ian McKellen, Liv Tyler, Viggo Mortensen, Sean Astin, Cate Blanchett, and Orlando Bloom. This all-time iconic movie trilogy tells the story of Middle-earth, a place of peace and easiness. At least, that's how it seems. But dark forces are on the horizon, and a group of friends who couldn't be more unsuitable for this mission have to go on the adventure of their lives to save everything they ever lived for.
Do you agree with our list? Please let us know in the comments. If you want to know more about a particular movie in this list, you can check out our links in the video description. And for more top 10 movie videos, be sure to subscribe to communiTV.